Let's make sure Glenn's not late for his next meeting.
You're working too hard, Glenn. You're old, buddy.
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 32 of 2023, and I got to see my buddy Glenn at the Giants game. With me, I have my co-host, the Vanilla Gorilla, whose team, the Arizona Diamondbacks, beat our Giants in extra innings.
They haven't been my team since, I think, 2001, when they actually won the World Series. So they're like a nobody to me. And hey, you forgot about something. There was a third wheel with you two idiots at the game. What's up, Greg Chu? Are you a listener?
Yeah,
we'll find out. How do you guys know? How do you guys know old Greg? I know you interviewed him once before. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'll leave it at that. One of you two guys did. No, leave it in there. Like they can guess.
Well, he was there for a good reason. Like I said, he was a good guy. I guess we know him, right? So had to invite him. He was available too, and he brought his son. Pretty cool kid.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
I had a really interesting experience last week. We've been doing a lot of like these whiteboard Wednesday things where we have customers come in or prospects, and we send them food. And the idea is like you just have like it's kind of like 10 o'clock. It's too early to drink in some accounts, so it's like we send them like a snack box. And so you have like this host guy, and he comes on. He's like, hey, we're gonna talk about the tea I sent you and the gummies and blah blah blah. He's like, what was your favorite snack as a kid, right? And people are like, things that that would resonate well. Like, oh man, I really like Lunchables or
Ring-dings.
Yeah, like Funyuns. And then this dude came on top and just made me feel so old. He's like, Takis. I'm like, all right, you are obviously like, I like Takis.
Taki chips.
But they were not, when I was a kid, that was not a thing. So this dude, there's definitely a 20-year gap between me and him.
Making a comeback, those Takis. And we have Glenn Medina, who almost caught a fly ball at the game.
It was very far away. Your representation of a fly ball was like not even that close. And I've got my hands like 2 feet apart here. Interesting. It was a good time. It was a good time catching up with you. I haven't seen you in how long, Chris?
Since RSA, I think.
RSA.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah. Holy cow. And it's been just as long since I've seen Brian, so yeah, we've got to get together sometime and record in person again.
You ruined everything.
Do, Glenn.
You could be at Black Hat having fun, but no.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
And since you said Black Hat, come and see us, booth 1660 on the floor. Come find us. No guest this week, but at the Giants game, we were trying to get Greg onto the show. He started asking us buying questions, like how do we record, so I think we can convince him to come on. We do know that Greg is a listener, so here's our challenge for you to come on the show. Combined, we have decades of information security experience and are here not just to educate, but to entertain. We've got 4 awesome stories for you this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This week, we're going to talk about the intersection of video games and InfoSec, a new banking law to crack down on fraud. For our third topic, attackers abuse Google AMP, and close with social media talk. For our first topic, I am a self-proclaimed gamer, and I think the intersection of gaming and information security is a really interesting topic. The first gaming InfoSec story is for one of my favorite titles, Activision's Call of Duty. So the current flagship game right now is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. There was a self-propagating worm that was infecting players who played this game on PC, and it was spreading so fast, Activision took the drastic measure of taking their multiplayer servers offline, and the game was unavailable until they could figure out what was causing the worm to spread. The worm is thought to be related to a vulnerability found in the Redis open source database software.
Interesting. It didn't affect people that were gaming on consoles. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I think the worm was specifically built for Windows, so it wouldn't affect Xbox or PlayStation.
I wonder the reason why I didn't hear that is because it wasn't like propagating into corporate environments. Like I missed this story entirely. Usually when I read the show notes, I'm like, oh yeah, I heard about that. Oh yeah, I saw that on Twitter and whatnot. But this one just like, wow, it's completely out of left field. I had no idea that even happened. How many people do you think that actually impacted? Is that like a couple million people playing that game?
Probably. It's a really popular online game. I'd have to check on Twitch. It's probably like the third most streamed game, maybe.
But most of it though is console though, right? I thought a lot of that was console driven, not on gaming PCs. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, there's a good mix. I think most people that stream play on PC, which is it's actually nice now because I forgot which Call of Duty they made the change, but they allow cross-platform now. Because it used to be if you're on Xbox, you could only play with Xbox people. If you're on PC, you could only play with PC people. But now, if you're on PC, you can play with Xbox and PlayStation people. So I think the hardcore gamers and the streamers, they all use PC now.
Yeah, I don't think any console player can hang with a keyboard jockey.
Yeah, exactly.
You think so? Why is that? Because of the ability to hit shortcuts a whole lot faster and get the things and the refresh rates and the speed of the computer and processing?
I have never played a console or any video game on a computer in my entire life. So I have no idea. But for whatever reason, people talk about the responsiveness maybe of the mouse and accuracy. I have no idea. Something to do about that. But Chris,
That's a lie. I know you played Fortnite.
I didn't play it on a PC though.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. But yeah, mouse and keyboard is 100% the way to go. Someone playing on, it's just more responsive because on the console you just have these two sticks that you have to manipulate, and it's the sensitivity that you can get on a mouse and keyboard. It is the way to go.
Yeah, it's like tuning in Tokyo, huh? On those little gaming sticks.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I'll tell you what, Chris, you got to tell me why. But like, I don't think I could ever game to the extent that I hear some people do these all night events. I'm in it for like 5-10 minutes and I'm bored. Maybe I'm showing my age here, or either that, or I get vertigo like after 3 minutes. Right?
It's competitive. It's like esports is considered professional sports that some people are just at the very top of their game. Some people might not think it's very physical, but it is very mentally taxing.
Yeah, we did a campus tour for my son, and they were doing like an esports thing, and like it was some video game that I've seen him play. Like he wasn't there for it, but they were talking about it, and it's like soccer, but you're using cars. I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what game you're talking about. The name's escaping me at the moment.
I'm like, really? You get to go to you get to come to college for free because you can play this stupid game? You're kidding me. and
that's no different than going to college because you're good at throwing a ball around a field.
It's way different. Throwing a ball is way more like crashing cars. Way different. Athletics versus a couple fingers. I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, like, and here's the thing that no one understands about Chris. Like, he's like, oh, it's my favorite, video game, Call of Duty. But like, Chris is number one up all hours of the night. He's up at the ass crack of dawn every single day. If I happen to go into a Slack channel called Random, homie is posting in there all the time. If I have some sort of obscure reference, he can, like, about anybody, he's already got it. Like, that's why we call him like the Chris Search or whatever.
Web crawler.
Yeah.
Web crawler Chris.
Yeah, Elastic Man over here. And then like any type of content that you want, like movie wise, like, oh yeah, I got it, just come over here and get it. I'm like, and then top of that, somehow he's still married and likes his kids. Like, I don't understand how you have time. Chris has figured out a way to like kind of duplicate himself, and that's just scratching the surface. Because like, and on top of that, he's a gamer, and then he's gonna go to Black Hat for the week, maybe not, and then DEF CON, right? And then all the while he'll probably burn a phone and still be able to throw out like random pieces of trivia, content, and images that he just shouldn't even have. It's just, I'm
telling you, man, he's gonna get on that plane and someone's gonna sit next to him and says, "You're not real. What? I don't know what's wrong with that dude, but you're not real."
That's who she was talking about. Now we know.
Yeah, now we know it was Chris.
I try. Not enough hours in the day for sure. So the game you're talking about is Rocket League. I just looked it up.
Yeah, Rocket League. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That was bothering me because I knew it was really popular maybe like 5 years ago, but I guess it's still, people are playing that a lot now.
I knew it was Rocket League too. I wanted our listeners to be like, it's Rocket League. It's Rocket. Come on, guys.
So okay, can we go back here? So what did the worm actually end up doing? Like killing people's PCs, stealing a bunch of information? What at the end of the day, what was it?
I actually don't know. I'd have to read the article again, but I just know this worm was just self-propagating onto people's machines, and I'm sure it would have had to exploit things like privilege escalation if they wanted to do something bad, but it was spreading. Activision's like, we got to stop this. So they literally pulled the plug on it and turned off the game until they could figure out what was going on.
It probably just went out to Twitter, Instagram, and upvoted all the Babylon Bee stories. That was
probably
that's what exactly got them really popular.
A like farm, yeah. But this is not the first time gamers exploited a 0 day to wreck someone's day. If you remember, back in 2021, players of Minecraft accidentally discovered the Log4j vulnerability when they used the Java-based game's chat feature to do things like play annoying noises or crash the machines of other players, but someone with more nefarious motives found out about it and used the vulnerability to own countless machines with the Log4j attack.
Yeah, I remember. Boring. I just remember this is like every security company out there was really quick to post, we are not vulnerable to this. We're not one of them. Like,
yeah.
Okay, great.
That's for Log4j. For Log4j, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's countless questionnaires you have to answer. Yep. And then games like Genshin Impact that use anti-cheat software, and anti-cheat software by definition has to be buried deep in the kernel. They've also been exploited to do things like take advantage of that kernel permission and kill processes like antivirus and EDR software on the endpoint. So there's a deep history between gaming and the InfoSec community.
Do you remember the first time you came across like a rootkit? Like how mind-blowing that was?
Yeah, that could persist even if you delete it.
Well, not only that, so number one, I think one of the first ones I had is like I went through, cleaned up someone's computer, and this thing was cooking, man. Like, it was hot. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this? I might have to like reinstall the entire computer. And I started finding out that there's these things called rootkits, could evade like all these tools that you have out there. And I think I was using Rootkit Revealer, which was probably made in Russia or something like that. And sure enough, it finds this process that was hooked into the kernel that was hiding itself from like the task manager, even in safe mode. I was like, what the hell is going on right here? I remember killing it, rebooting it, and then the computer comes on. It was just like humming, just nice and quiet. Couldn't fry an egg on it anymore. But yeah, those things are scary.
Good times back then.
Has there ever been a rootkit for like Linux, Mac?
I'm sure there have been. Yeah, Mac maybe less so just because they own the hardware, but Linux for sure. The other scary one is the UEFI boot rootkits now. It buries themselves into the firmware of the motherboard. Like that's... Ooh. You gotta like trash the motherboard at that point.
When's the last time you guys built a machine? Have you guys... I helped a nephew build a gaming rig, but that's at least been 2-3 years now. And even before that, it was like 5 or 6 years since I did that. You guys building machines still?
I built a lab machine probably 5 years ago. I went on PC Part Picker and I got all the correct parts for it. And then I do plan on building a really nice gaming rig after I move, because I'll actually have time to play games after I move.
I think I've been a Mac guy for probably 15 years now, so that was the last time. Was maybe even before that. If I played games, though, I'd probably do it.
Yeah.
If I was a child, if I was a grown child with zero sex drive, then I'm just kidding, Chris.
Come play Call of Duty with us.
I get my jollies from the controller.
Okay.
For our second topic, if you know someone who's been the victim of a BEC scam, a business email compromise, or some kind of Zelle scam, then this story is for you. A common scam being run today is to offer someone a work-from-home job and then mail them a bogus check. After the victim deposits the check, the quote employer asks the victim to send part of the money back to them using Zelle, and Zelle is a peer-to-peer payment service run by all the major banks, at least here in the US. The victim does this as part of their quote job duties, and then the check bounces and the money sent through Zelle is gone. It happens more often than you think, but a new law in the UK may change that. In the UK, there's going to be a law put into effect, putting the responsibility on the bank that would force the bank to reimburse people that fall victims to scams like this. And the thought here is that hopefully, if the bank is on the hook, that they'll implement stricter anti-fraud controls. Because right now, the banks have zero motivation to prevent fraud. They actually can benefit from it because you're using their service, and if you send the money off to some guy in Russia and they're like, oh, sorry, your money's gone, nothing we can do. So that definitely impacts customer satisfaction, but since when do banks care about customer satisfaction?
Well, not only that, but they get the, charge the account $35 or $50 for the
bounce check fee.
For the return check fee. And so they win both ways, right? So it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a bank, they piloted this at a UK bank, and they said, yeah, we're going to reimburse 100% of all fraudulent charges. And then that made the risk management department put better anti-fraud controls in. So even though they're still paying out some of the ones that get through, they said their losses have significantly decreased after they did this.
So first and foremost,
what happened to a 10-day hold on checks that don't come from anywhere? Sorry, Brian.
No, you're good. Well, that's the thing. So, like, if you get a check, right, depending on who you are with your bank, a certain percentage of that dollar amount's going to get deposited, right? So it depends on how much funds you have. Like, if I got a $1,000 check, right, maybe the funds available to me might be $1,000 versus my son's might only be $300. So it kind of boils down to like that.
Yeah, but there's also a thing that you could do. Like, I've gotten checks before from a family member, and I've always thought that their checks were going to bounce. So I would ask the bank, hey, can you validate that there's funds inside this before I deposit this, so that way I don't get hit with the bank charge?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they'll do that for you.
I just go to the issuing bank and get a cut.
Yeah, you call the issuing bank, and then they'll
that would be good.
It's a verification of funds request, I think.
So this whole thing is like a giant scam. And it's not a scam on behalf of the scammers. It's the scam of the banks, right? Like they're kind of off the hook because they're just like, whatever, I'll just pawn it off onto the end users, and it becomes their problem. The UK is actually doing kind of a good thing with this law, which is putting the bank on the hook. Now here's where it gets even more effed up. So do you guys know who owns Zelle?
It's like the 4 major banks here in the US, I think,
False.
Right? Citi, Chase, Wells.
No, it's Early Warning Services, a company based out of Arizona. What does Early Warning Services do? They help protect the banks, and they take in all this information and feeds on credit cards, on banking accounts, on checking and stuff, checking accounts and whatnot. That way, when you go to like a POS and you're about to buy something, and they run the check through, it kind of scans it real quick. It's actually reaching all the way into your account to see if you even have the money there before it even clears, or if it's been stolen or fraudulent, right? But Early Warning Services is doing this as a benefit to protect the bank, not the users, not the customers. They should be protecting the consumers, but at the end of the day, they're like, F it, we'll just go ahead and protect the big banks, which is, I think, Early Warning is held by the big 4, as you guys are talking about, but it's really the company that owns it.
Yeah, Zelle was meant to compete against the fintech companies, so like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. That's their equivalent of it. They knew they were about to be disrupted by these fintech companies, so they tried to disrupt themselves first by creating this Zelle, but they implemented it without any of the proper controls in place, and that's why there's huge scams going on with Zelle right now.
Yeah, anytime I send money to someone that I haven't done before, it's like, double check, because once you send it, it's gone. I'm like, man, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does make life a lot easier to be able to just send money to someone, via their phone number.
Yeah, peer-to-peer payments. Yeah.
Yeah, Venmo is a big one for me. I love Venmo.
Yeah,
it's so easy.
It's
really?
Yeah, it's hooked into my like. If someone sends you money, you gotta put that into your account, and I don't want to have a direct deposit line into my account from there.
Oh well, I just hold on to the cash. I leave it in Venmo because I know I'm going to spend it someplace else.
And that's what they want you to do.
That's what they want you to do. They want to hold your deposit.
Sure.
And then one
Hey guys,
day
I'm not
when
talking like a lot of money there. So I'm not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
What? You have $1,000? Wow. Chris, we know
one day when
1,000 here.
Glenn
Wow.
when Glenn Medina says the wrong thing on X or Instagram, Venmo's going to freeze your account and not give you your money back.
oh yeah.
I have freaking like $32.15 on Apple Cash, and I don't even know how to use it. I'm like, someone sent me money, like I think it was my sister-in-law. She's like, I'll just send you money via Apple Pay. I'm like, what the hell? And I got it. So I hardly ever use it. And it's been sitting there for years, right? And Apple's just laughing, collecting me.
Open a savings account with Apple. They're paying 4.1% right now.
Ooh, do they have a top end on that?
No, uncapped.
Shut up, really?
4% cash back, uncapped. Get out of here.
Yeah,
No,
4%. I think it's
APY.
4.1 APY. Yeah,
Wow, that's pretty good.
yeah. I think it's held by Goldman Sachs, but yeah, uncapped.
I think at best money market accounts like 3% right now.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, there's some regionals that will do like 5% or 4.7, but 4.1 guaranteed through Apple, and it's really easy. It just you have to tie it to your traditional checking account and just send the money over. And it's there in 1 to 3 days.
Man, I'll have $1,000 like Glenn before I know it.
Yeah, well, there's no better way to get the banks to fix things than to put them on the hook for fraud. And there are carve-outs for negligence. So if you're just blindly sending money out and they can prove that you've been negligent, they're not on the hook. But if it's some innocent person really thinking they got a job offer and sending money, then they'll be covered and reimbursed for fraud.
Well, that's the same theory as credit cards as well, right? So if you look at credit cards, you're not on the hook versus a bank card, a debit card, where you're immediately on the hook for that money that comes out of that account.
I think credit card fraud's a little different because if your card gets stolen or the number gets stolen, then yeah, you 100% should not be liable for it. But if somebody falls for a scam, like, well, I guess a credit card scam, you technically aren't on the hook as well. But this is more of some clever attacker finding a way to get you to sell them some money.
I heard the liability.
I'd be like,
go ahead.
No, please.
It's like something like if you lose a credit card, I think it's within the first couple of days, if you notify before any fraudulent charges come on there, like your liability is actually 0. And between days 2 to 60, your liability is like only $50 on a credit card, which means you can lose a credit card and be like, someone went out and bought a new car and a bunch of crap out here, and you're like, that wasn't me, and they're just gonna write it off like it's nothing. Like, that's crazy.
I've gone back 6 months and didn't realize that someone was dripping money from my account, $1, $2, $10 at a time. And then came back and was like, hey, I need to audit this. Went back and they took all those little charges off. So it was amazing.
And
that was pretty cool.
I think it's how we figured out
bank.
if it's more than 1 cent charge in your credit card,
you
know about it.
The notification.
Right. I know about it pretty quickly. That's right.
All right.
So.
For our third topic, attackers are using Google's AMP project to get their phishing links through email filters and web security tools. Google's AMP feature accelerates the loading of pages, usually news articles and news pages, by stripping out anything unnecessary for the page to load, and it's intended to be used for mobile devices that have limited bandwidth or processing power. So think of those low-end Android phones in the developing world. That's where this technology really shines. The URL looks like google.com/amp/ the actual URL, so it could be google.com/amp/chrislouis.net. Some email filters will see the first domain and they'll recognize it as google.com and allow it through due to its good reputation, but the website will actually link the user to the URL referenced after the AMP in the web address. So in my example, it'd be chrislouis.net. This can allow attackers to bypass email security filtering if they're not looking for things beyond the domain. And if your web filter only does things like domain-based filtering, like DNS-only solutions, or if you're not performing SSL inspection, it could get missed too. Very clever. Hopefully Google will do something within AMP to mitigate these types of attacks.
Do you think it's on Google or is it on the email filtering?
It's both, but I think Google needs to do a better job. If you're going to be using their AMP, they should scan the URLs to make sure they're not malicious before allowing it through.
Interesting. I thought I don't believe that would be. Are they? I don't think that's even a thing. Do you?
It's sort of like Bitly. Like Bitly should have some obligation to scan the link that they're linking through for the link shortener. Bitly can clearly say we don't scan it, we just provide you a service to shorten the link. But a company like Google, who has a gigantic threat intelligence team, just put it through one of your engines or put it through VirusTotal. They own VirusTotal. If it comes back malicious as VirusTotal, then don't allow AMP to be used on it.
It's just another. For right now, it's another vector. It's whack-a-mole, right? So they probably see this and go, okay, we've got to add this. And additionally, for the email filters out there that need to add this, or email security vendors out there that just need to add this as another method to protect.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, just saying that AMP will just willy-nilly, just like whatever it is, and they'll just generate the link.
Yeah,
and accept it blindly. Okay, all right, I agree with you. They need to scrutinize the links a little bit. Can you imagine? Just the garbage you can throw through there. Man, that'd be good. But yeah,
it shows up as google.com.
The what? Repeat that again, Chris?
So the link just shows up as google.com, but you're actually visiting a different website because it's after the AMP. I can see the wheels turning for Brian right now. He's trying to think of how he can exploit this.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of am, and I'm also thinking, wow, that's just stupid. Like, I can't believe they're not doing any type of sanity check on that. That's a huge miss.
Well, how would a content filter solution save from this? Because it's a subdomain of AMP, right? It could be. How would you create a rule to protect to look for amp.chrislouis.net?
You could block it. So if you can read the entire URL string, not just the SNI and not just the host name, you could put a block for AMP in the google.com/AMP in the address bar. The other thing would be if you scan, so you have to do something like SSL inspection. You have to scan the entire contents of the page to see if is this a phishing page.
I think the easy button is isolate, right? See Google AMP, just throw it in isolation.
Yeah, or do that. Yeah, this is like we talked about it on the show a while ago that people were making the Microsoft logo instead of like using an image of it, because some email filters will scan for an image of the Microsoft logo, but they were using like a 2x2 table and then just coloring it like the Microsoft logo, and they were using that to bypass email filters. Or some of them do use images of Wells Fargo. So if I highlight the page, nowhere on the page does it say Wells Fargo, but there's a picture of the words Wells Fargo, so they could do that to try to get around the filters. And like you said, Glenn, it's whack-a-mole. They're going to come out with this, and then Google's going to counteract it, and then just going to come up with something new.
So on that AMP, are you, like, let's say we're using the Chris Louis example, chrislouis.net. Are you seeing on the destination server, your server, are you seeing the client being Google, and they're just doing kind of a reverse? I guess they are kind of a little bit of a reverse proxy and rendering that page from their AMP.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because Google's acting as that proxy in between, because you're going to a Google destination, and they're just downloading the page on your behalf or accessing a cache version of that page.
Jerks.
Well, get your security in order, because this might be more exploited unless Google does something about it.
I wonder if you could, on a proxy, if you find google.com/AMP, we don't want to block it, because you number one, you want to block is like, what if it's legitimate, right? So that's one problem. Two, maybe you don't really want to isolate it. Maybe you don't have the wherewithal or the licensing to do it. So could you take that and then parse that link and then just redirect that traffic? Probably not very easily, but I think it's feasible. So you hit that AMP link.
See AMP, just strip everything after and then paste that in. Do a redirect.
I think you're missing the whole point of that, though, right? Is that it's used by some countries to serve pages faster because of the devices that they're on.
Yeah, so that's the point. Yeah, they're trying to accelerate. So I'm not sure if it's caching or I'm pretty sure they do remove a lot of the unnecessary stuff off the page as well.
Probably just for mobile devices, I bet, though.
I mean, that's what it's geared for sure. I think if you go to news.google.com on a mobile phone, I think all if not most of the links are AMP links. But if you go there on a desktop, you usually don't see the AMP there.
Oh, goody.
Something for you to test, Brian.
In my spare time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come back next week with something awesome. Maybe I won't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a chupacabra.
For our last topic, and it will be a rotating topic every week. This week, we're going to talk about our digital detox progress. I know Brian has mentioned he quit social media for the last month, and I quit Reddit after their API pricing changes since I couldn't use the Apollo app anymore. Glenn also mentioned he quit Facebook since he is a boomer, so I just wanted to see if you noticed anything different since you left social media. For me, my phone usage went down significantly. Using the screen time feature on iOS, I could see my average daily usage of the phone, and after I quit Reddit, my phone usage went down 25% week over week. So you could clearly see it the week that Apollo was still up versus the week after Apollo got killed, but phone usage was down 25%. So that's good, but I also replaced that screen time with my Steam Decks. So when I used to complain that I don't have any time to game anymore, it looks like my gaming time went to browsing Reddit.
So I'm with you. I saw my screen time definitely go down. Battery life on the old phone went through the roof. No longer doing the old death scroll, right? I think I find myself more in the moment of things. Like I'm not like even normally on this podcast, I'm like, oh, these guys suck. And so I'm just sitting here scrolling on social media, trying to find something to...
We just lost Brian, but he's still talking.
Yeah, we'll have to fix this all in post.
Yeah.
Until he realizes he's disconnected.
Yeah. Just see his big fat head. Just send him a message. So for me, Chris, I've replaced Facebook with YouTube, and I'm just looking at shorts like all day long. But I do like listening to my audiobooks. I have what's that program called on the phone? Audible. And I have a set of books that I like, a set of authors. I listen to those, and then every once in a while, I probably catch every fourth, fifth, once a month, I like to catch our podcasts and just listen to them, because I like to listen to how stupid I sound at times, to be honest. So, yeah. Brian's
back at a different angle, so he booted up his backup laptop.
Yeah, the death scroll. Feel like I'm paying more attention. Do you guys hear me talk crap about you guys? Like you normally in the podcast, I'm on social media scrolling.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the other one that's kind of weird is that overall I feel happier. And I think that's kind of a weird thing because I feel like I am acutely aware of the control of what social media has on you. And so I try to kind of pay attention to like what I'm inputting into my mind. And I'm kind of aware of the control that's out there. But I do think that I found myself comparing subconsciously myself to things that I would be seeing on there, whether it was people on vacation or maybe the gym bros, right, that are on there working out and giving me tools and tips, right? Like I don't know, it was a little bit of a mind F, to be honest with you. And I was like, wow, man, I'm not actually carrying that anymore. Like the focus at the gym is a little bit different, right? And then...
Or how about that video, that cool guy playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that you aspire to be?
Which cool guy are you talking about? You? So, yeah, I think overall, just happier. Like, I just, rotting your brain with all that nonsense, which is kind of surprising to me because just getting off of it, just to kind of show myself that I can put the phone down and not be there, I thought that was it, right? I didn't know that it actually had that type of control. And then, a little bit on the old echo chamber as well. I just kind of, I think everyone I'm friends with on social media, we all kind of think of alike. And so getting out of that. Now, I didn't leave Twitter. And for some people, I would think that,
X.
Yeah, X, excuse me. I think a lot of people left Twitter when Elon did his thing. If you're one of those people, I would probably maybe come back. And the only reason I say that is it's not because I think that Elon has better values and opinions on stuff. What I would say is that if you want to actually see both sides of a topic, now it's there, clear as daylight, and you can draw your own assertions from it. Would be my recommendation to you. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter or see that as well, but that's one thing I'm definitely enjoying about it at this point in time.
Is the fact that there's no propaganda one way or the other?
I would say that the propaganda is probably still there. The difference is I'm seeing both sides of the propaganda. So,
I see.
Like on whatever, whatever side of the topic you would normally fall on, you would just go down that echo chamber of just that view. And now I'm seeing opposing views, which I definitely enjoy.
I'll send a video to you guys in the group chat. I found it on Discord. And I don't know if it's made up or not, but it's so true, where there's like these kids that are either crying or dreaming or sleeping, and they're mimicking the motion of they're just holding the phone and they're scrolling up, kind of like the death scroll that Brian was describing.
Yeah. I'll see my daughter's
this is what it's come to
She'll be laying
today.
there, like asleep on the couch, and her hand will, without the phone, the hand will look like it's holding the phone.
The grip, yeah. Yeah, that's actually happened to my wife. She's fallen asleep with her phone in her hand a few times with that exact grip, and I have to like turn off the phone, take it out of her hand, and charge it for her.
I'll tell you what, it's
such a nice husband.
He is. You charge it for her. Set the alarm too. She's not late to work. One of my daughter, like all of my kids, very either handsome or beautiful, and I'm dad, so I can say that, right? Like whatever. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I think it's true. And one of my daughters, like, and I would normally, I don't know if I would fight it as much, but I think that I understand it more. So she'll say stuff like, oh, I'm fat, or just unhappy overall with her body image. And so I have my oldest who's on social media all the time, and then I have my youngest who doesn't even want to get on social media because she's like, she's only 14.
Yeah,
and she actually has the option of getting on, maybe like Instagram type of platform if she wanted. She's like, no, like I don't. Like I have friends. Like it's weird. I have a 14-year-old daughter says I have friends that have body issues because of Instagram. Right? I'm like, wow, like that body
she's ahead of her time.
Yeah,
definitely.
No doubt.
And so she's like, I don't want that problem. And then I have my 20-year-old who I would say, when she goes to the gym, probably every woman would love to look like her, right? Like, but I think that's your own like double standard in life, right? Like, I don't think anyone's ever happy, but it's concerning. Like, when she's like, yeah, I think I'm fat, or my legs are too squishy, or something like that. I'm like, no, like you're the end result of what a lot of people in this world, dream to be. And I'm like, why is that? It's because she's hyper focused on social media, and I've come across like where I'll stand behind her and just kind of look at what's on her Instagram or Snapchat feed, and it's just all women that are working out that are just super toned, right? And
most of them have filters or they're photoshopped anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just, it doesn't do anyone any good. It's kind of, so I try to have these conversations where they're like, well, maybe number one, being reassuring, but I am dad, so I don't know if she believes it. But number two, just kind of sharing it with her, like, hey, listen, like I got off of social media, and this is my mindset on stuff, and there's happiness with it, and you should be able to do the same thing as well.
Yeah,
I may or may not. Go ahead.
It's just everything in moderation. Like, I think it's okay to go on there, but to spend too much time on it. Same with gaming. It's okay to game a little bit. It's not okay to do 24 hours straight with drinking Mountain Dew and Red Bull, but everything in moderation, and just knowing that what you see out there isn't always real.
It's true. And like, I am way too old to even attempt to like get into the realm of like wanting to do steroids. If I was 30 years old, I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably do it at this point. If I had the income and that stuff, I'd probably be like, yeah, like I'm seeing all these dudes, and they're like, the only way you can look like this, right, is you got to juice and you got to do things like that. And I'd probably be like, oh, you know what? I'm young, dumb. Let's go for it. Like I could be influenced as well. Thank God I'm not. Yeah. I'm 31, not 30.
That's social media can be dangerous for sure. But yeah, I think
I'm just glad I grew up pre-social media.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm only gonna share this because I know my kids don't listen. But one of the things I did last week is I was like, mother F social media. So at the house, all social media is blocked, right? And it doesn't matter if you have an agent or not. I just block it, and all you hear all day long is, man, the Wi-Fi is bugging, man. Like it's like Snapchat.
They have LTE
Instagram
though.
is down.
They do.
They have LTE. Yeah.
It's barely usable, right? Like it is. It's
Oh. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, guys. I was like, Netflix seems fast. I don't know.
Go outside and play.
Yeah. But the outcome of that is like when it comes time to that, they're more in the moment, right? When like we're hanging out, they're not, and like watching TV, they're not watching TV and on the phone. The phone's just down now. I'm seeing differences, right?
Yeah.
Across the board on everything by blocking it. So we'll see how long this goes for.
Yeah. Well, I continue to get great comments about our dad joke of the week. Dad joke of the week. This week, Glenn's up.
So, we've done this 120 some odd episodes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I did this one already, but I'm gonna give it a while. I'm gonna give it a try.
Go for it.
I hope I didn't do this already. Is Google male or female?
Which one?
I'm asking you guys. Is Google male or female?
It's those, isn't it? I'm not good with pronouns.
No.
It's a Z.
It's female because it doesn't let you finish your sentences before making a suggestion.
Oh. Do you know my son? My son got suspended because of that.
I remember that. That was on an episode, wasn't it?
It may have been, yeah. How to build a bomb, but he didn't type in bomb, but it did the autocomplete and notified the school district.
Uh-oh. All right, to wrap things up. Gamers can make the best hackers. Banks in the UK will soon be on the hook to reimburse fraud. Phishing attacks are abusing Google's AMP feature. And stay off social media for the sake of your mental health. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you to all our listeners and subscribers who rated us 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. Oh, and by the way, someone did give us a 3-star review in the Apple iTunes Store. So if you're out there listening,
Ooh.
We don't appreciate that 3-star review and not giving us constructive feedback for it.
What is that about?
They just left the rating without a review like a coward.
Yeah, I say, come to Black Hat, say it to my face.
Yeah, that's right.
The best way to find us is a search for the PEBCAK Podcast on your favorite podcast listening app. For my co-hosts Brian Deitch and Glenn Medina, I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week, and as always, have a nice day.
Felicia.
I love all my 5-star listeners.
Sure.